Günaydın pazar sabahı. Hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Bugün aramıza katılanlar ve 2 gündür programı takip edenler için yorucu bir hafta sonu oldu. Ama umarım faydalı bir hafta sonu oluyordur. Programı zamanında başlatıp zamanında bitirmeye çalışacağız. Onun için bazı arkadaşlarımız henüz ulaşamadı ama izninizle başlayalım diyorum. Büyük bir zevkle ilk bölümde sunumu yapacak hem çok sevgili dostum hem de FIA'da çok önemli bir ismi size takdim etmek istiyorum. Mr. Uwe Schmidt Almanya'dan geldi. Bugün kendisi FIA'da Rally Komisyon Başkan Vekili. ERC yarışının ilk yarışı olan Yanner Rally'nin direktörü. Uzun dönemdir benim de içinde bulunduğum, çalıştığım bu grupta en iyi reglamanı bilen, değişiklikleri takip eden ve takıldığımız zaman bir şey sorduğumuz sevgili dostumuz Mr. Uwe Schmidt. I will not tell all the explanation to you. I am trying to cheat you, so I don't want to say too much.
I hope it was correct what you said.
I said we have to listen to you, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you very much that you give me the honor to be here. And
translation is continue. I will translate only to you.
When there are questions.
I will do it.
Okay. I hope you make a correct translation.
We will see.
Okay. I have the feeling like in a German school, nobody wants to sit in the first bench. Everybody tries to be far away from the teacher. Okay, I want to tell you something about the work between the clerk of the course and the stewards and who can do what. First of all, I would like to draw your attention to these new numbers of articles. You might have found out that we have a new sporting code since this year. The numbering in the sporting code has been changed. Now, if you go to the website of FIA, you will find the new sporting code, and there you will find also the table where the translation from the old numbering of the article to the new numberings of the article. What do we have? We have a scale of penalties, and in general, the clerk of the course has the power also to decide and to penalize certain people. And one is that he can fine, and fine means money, and penalty, and also exclusions. This can be done by the clerk of the course, but only if it's detailed in the supplementary regulations or in the sporting regulations of FIA. Now, additionally, the stewards have the chance to blame a driver, a competitor, also the organizer. Very rarely done, but if the organizer is not working properly, the stewards could blame the organizer as well. I did it once in my life with the organizer of Sanremo. Yes, they didn't use the FIA logo on their papers.
By the way, President of FIA also asked from Jacques Berger, where is the FIA logo? Why you are talking in that meeting without FIA logo? So this is our mistake. We assumed that FIA Institute is enough, but it is not.
Yeah, but you have the logo of the FIA Institute.
At least.
In front of Institute, there is the FIA logo, so there it's there. Additionally, there are penalties like suspension or disqualification. This can be done only by your ASN. So Mr. President has the right to disqualify the one. No, most probably you have a code also, a sporting code, and so you do it then. And the suspension also, that means that drivers are suspended for a certain time to compete or to go to an event. So what can a COC can do? So he may penalize without any formal procedure. The normal penalty, which is done by the clerk of the course, what would you say is it? The simplest thing is a delay on the time control. Then the driver gets a penalty. This is some kind of automatic system, but actually it's the clerk of the course will do this. And he doesn't have to talk to the people, he just does what he wants. So that's what I did it in Generali. I fined with 5,500 euros to drivers which did not behave properly while recce. They were speeding, so they have to pay 25 euros per kilometer too fast. So it's much, much more than the police can ask for. They are quite jealous, the policemen. And his penalization is part of his duty, because it says in the regulation that the clerk of the course has to apply the regulation, and if there is in the regulation a point like this 25 euros per kilometer for speeding, then he has to apply it. And normally he should do this in writing, because there is the right to protest. So whenever a clerk of the course makes a decision, he should put this in writing and give it to the competitor. Most probably he's doing it through the competitor's relation officer. Up here as well. So these are samples of penalties the clerk of the course will do. A time penalty. Time penalty for jump start, for instance. This is clearly marked in the regulation, so he can penalize the competitor for the jump start. Now in racing we have also, for instance, a drive-through penalty. We don't have this in the rally. Then we have fines. Fines in that case, again, like this 25 euros per K for speeding. And he has the right to exclude also somebody. But we don't want to use this word anymore for exclusion, because in the sporting code it's clearly marked what an exclusion is and the procedures of exclusion. So what we nowadays use is more to remove somebody from the classification. Typical situation is he's over time, more than 15 minutes between two time controls, then you remove him from the classification, but you put it also in writing so that he has the right of protest. This should be done only in regrouping, so not in between, because I think it's unfair if a driver is out on a special stage and then you give him a paper, you are not in the classification anymore, he has no chance to protest, nothing. So that's why you do it in the regrouping. But whatever you do as clerk of the course, you're reporting it to the stewards. You see, these guys are sitting, or the ladies sitting there, and they want to work something, so that's why you give them a lot of paper. So they're the whole day busy and reading papers.
Actually, we have some cases in Turkey. The clerk of course tried to keep it secret when he give a decision, and he doesn't want to show, or he doesn't want to ask any help from the stewards, which is I think you need a little bit more explanation about that.
Okay, the stewards are there to control the event, to see whether everything is working well, whether the organizer is well organized, that he makes no mistakes, and they are also there to check whether the drivers do everything well. Now, if the clerk of the course does not give any information to them, they are not involved in the event. And as a clerk of the course, you should show your competence. The more information you give to them, the better they know, oh, he's a good clerk of the course because he makes decisions. If you don't do anything, they have always the impression of, most probably he doesn't know how to do it. So that's why the communication from the clerk of the course to the steward should be as much as possible. The best thing is if the stewards say to you, oh, don't come again, see, give us one hour break. And I try to avoid this. I always send them more information. So you are a competent woman, you're a competent man. So why shouldn't you share your information with somebody else? There is no secret in that. So this is my personal meaning on that. Or if somebody has a different opinion to that. Because Banu said to me, you have to explain everything here, because when I explain it to these guys, they don't believe me. So that's why she asked me to come. So you may believe her, that she really knows what she's talking about. So, and this is important that you give your decisions in writing because of the protest chance, so that the driver can protest your decision. The protest time is still 30 minutes, so that's why a decision you make, give it to the driver in the, well, at the time where he has the chance to protest it. We had a decision to make in Rally Acropolis, and the protest of factory company came right in the moment when the results were published. And it was very clear that the protest will be, that the protest is not admissible, because it was a protest against two competitors. It was Citroën protesting against Volkswagen. And Volkswagen Motorsport is two competitors. There is one Volkswagen Motorsport and one Volkswagen Motorsport 2, because they have 3 cars. Now, a protest against more than one competitor is not admissible. So we had to reject it. And we did it very fast, within 10 minutes. So they had the chance to come with 2 new protests. Now, some of the stewards might have delayed the decision for the first one. So if you delayed 30 minutes, then you decide, and there is no additional protest anymore. But the sporting code says that all the protests have to be treated urgent. That means you must, in the moment you have your decision, you should announce this decision. And that's why we decided within 10 minutes, and Citroën got the chance to come up with a better protest. That's why also the clerk of the course should think always that the driver must have a chance to protest his decision. Now, there are penalties which are not pronounced by the clerk of the course. This is whenever it's a breach of the sporting code, when it's in the sporting regulations, in national regulations, and supplementary regulations. There are certain paragraphs, articles where it says this is decided by the stewards. So then it's clear it's not decided by the clerk of the course. So this decision can be made by the stewards, by the FIA, and by the ASN, and by his courts. Most of the ASN have 2 courts and at least 1 court of appeal. So he may do the same decisions like the stewards. Actually, the decision made by the court of appeal is more or less also the decision from the ASN. So what can the stewards do? They have a blame. Here also in the new article it's 12.3, not 153 anymore. It's 12.3. They can fine him with a reprimand, blaming somebody. They can, this is quite new, not very used often, an obligation to accomplish some work for public interest. Cleaning the house of the clerk of the course would not be of public interest, but cleaning the road in the city would be of public interest. But it's very seldom be done. And then they can now fine up to 250,000 euros. It was, until now, it was $50,000. Then they have the time penalty and the right for exclusion. And now here it's really the exclusion, because there is a certain procedure behind it. What is the procedure for excluding somebody? The parties concerned should be summoned. So they will ask them to come to a certain time to the stewards. This is important and should be done in writing also, so that the driver knows exactly when he should be where, and so he cannot excuse himself, I didn't know that I should come. Then there should be a hearing. So you tell the driver what is the problem, where is his offense, so he can have the opportunity to present his own defense. Maybe it was something wrong, or maybe excuse himself. After hearing everything and all parties, then the stewards make their decision by discussing the case, which can last sometimes long, because to look at all facts takes sometimes a long time, and then they do finally their decision. Then most often it's forgotten. There might be a decision which is not necessarily, does not necessarily mean that somebody moves up in the classification. See, if normal decision is somebody will be removed, everybody moves up in the classification. But this is not necessary. This is not an automatic. Actually, you should think about this and decide on that, whether you move all the others up or not. So if there is a technical problem on the car which has no advantage to the event, so you may exclude him because it was not correct, but still all others stay on their places. This has something to do with the points also in championships. That is why it's necessary to have this. But in general, a technical failure, technical offense is always an advantage. Sometimes we had cases where nobody knew why the hell he's doing it. And everybody said there is no advantage. But we exclude him because he was thinking that it's an advantage. That's why he tried to cheat. So that may be a case where you exclude him, but you don't move the others up because there was no big advantage. And then you have to give a reason for this inflicting this penalty. Meaning, if you make a decision, I exclude you because of break of article so and so, because of break in article appendix J so and so. Not just we exclude you. And nobody, why? So give the reason why you do it. Also, the steward should put their decision in writing, because now they have, the driver, the concerned party has the right to appeal against it. To appeal, they have to give notice within 1 hour to the stewards. There is enough when they write a sentence, we appeal your decision. That's it, no more. And that's why then in this case the decision is suspended. Only for safety reason you may not suspend this decision, because if the car is unsafe and you decided to exclude the car, then you cannot let him go when it's appealing, because it's still unsafe. But in general, ERSS decision is suspended. And then within 48 hours it was until now. Now it's within 72 hours. The party concerned must send the appeal to the ASN and pay the appropriate amount. So it's now not 48 hours, it's 72 hours now. And also give them, when you have it in writing, you ask them to come back, so they receive this decision, they just sign that they have received it. And we always add a sentence which says the competitor is reminded on his right to appeal. Just one sentence. In Germany, we make it German, very complicated. It's one page. What he has to do, what he can do. So all which is written in the sporting code, we give him in a paper. This is because of the German laws. We are always afraid for court cases. So this is, and then the notice of the receipt. Now, again to the suspension disqualification, this is done by the ASN, by the FIA. The suspension means that for a certain time the driver is not allowed to compete in an event. And the disqualification means he will never compete again, which is a very difficult decision, especially with European laws, because if it's a professional driver and you say you are not allowed to compete anymore, this is like banning him from his profession, which is a very difficult situation. Again, just which power, who can be penalized by the stewards is the organizer. But if you read, and officials, if you read it carefully, it can be only a reprimand. Sometimes friends of mine, also Wolf Biebinger, he fined an organizer with money, which was not correct. So it was. You may remember that there is in the sporting code how a starting number should look like. This square white panel with a black starting number. This was in the good old times. And an organizer had Blaupunkt. I don't know whether you know, this is a radio and television company. They produce television, or they produced. And Blaupunkt means blue dot. So, and the starting number was actually a blue dot with white numbers, which was against the code. So the stewards decided to fine the organizer exactly with the amount which they got from Blaupunkt. So all the sponsoring money was gone, which is not correct. I just tell you, it's not correct. But they can then penalize the competitors, the drivers, the co-drivers. But these guys all have the responsibility for all team members, managers, whoever is there. And then they can penalize this one for faults of the others. I had a case where a very aggressive father of a driver was attacking actually marshals outside. He was walking on the road in no-go areas, and he was shouting at the marshals when they asked him to move away. And he was always in the team of his son, but he was sick for almost 1 year. And he came back, and he was again shouting at everybody, yelling at them. So we were thinking what to do as a steward. So we asked the son to come. I asked him, how is your father? Is he fine again? Yes, now everything is okay again. So, is he back in your team? Yeah, he's my team manager. I say, thank you. So I find 1,000, in that time, 1,000 Deutsche Mark. And the son went out and his father was yelling at him how stupid he can be to say that he's team manager. Because in the moment he's part of the team, you still can penalize him. And the ASN and the FIA, they can also with the organizer, they can ask for real money from the organizer. Officials, we have now certain courts which deal only with officials, competitors, drivers, co-drivers, and stewards of the meeting. Even the stewards of the meeting could be asked to come to the court and being penalized if they do something wrong. So this was now in short the presentation. Now I'm looking forward to hear your questions. No question. So that was the way you were working all the year? Okay.
Şafak, sende yok mu soru?
No. So thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
Nobody asking a question. Can I ask a question? I think this year, in one of the events, we have some kind of a wrong decision. So I will try to make you a little bit more explanation about that issue. If the stage somehow has to be cancelled, the first 3 car, or we can say the first 13 car, continue, the others are not. So who will give the decision and what kind of decision can be done? Would you please explain us a little bit?
Okay. First, it's the clerk of the course who is asked to do something. So if after 13 cars the stage has been stopped because of an accident, whatever, and the clerk of the course finds out that he will not restart this rally, this stage because of a heavy accident, or because the delay is getting bigger and bigger, or the gap because it's getting bigger and bigger, first decision is, and don't make it too late, to cancel the stage. They say, I cancel the stage, and the drivers which are on the start go the alternative route. And the first thing is, you have to train your marshals, the timekeepers, how to do this. The biggest problem is that everybody's turning around and racing to the next time control. There you will find a mess. Because if you stop it and you say alternative route, the cars go still to the start of the stage, getting a starting time, which is the basis for the calculation for the time to the next time control, and then turn them around. And then they go in a normal order to the next time control. Be careful, because sometimes the alternative route is much shorter. And so you could have, for instance, a bigger gap and give them a shorter time between this start and this time control, because they can be much faster. But you must be always careful so that not these cars which have been stopped are earlier at the time control than the ones going through the stage. So you must do a proper calculation, and you do this before the event. You make up your mind before and not during the event, because during the event you don't have a chance good chance to make good decisions anymore. So you must be clear what you are doing. So, in the moment it's decided on that, you have a problem. That in Article 39 of the sporting regulations, it says that the drivers have to get a notional time, meaning that all drivers not passing through the stage should still get a time, which is a fair time for them. And that is a little bit difficult. Now, before it said, the years before, in Article 39, the stewards will make this decision. Then there was a time where it says the clerk of the course makes this decision. And now, nobody makes the decision. It says in Article 39, the driver get a notional time. That's it. It doesn't say anything who is doing the decision. And now this is my personal opinion. And I do it as a clerk of the course, I do it like this. I will do this decision as clerk of the course. Why? Because now the driver have a chance, in case that my decision might be wrong, now they have a chance to protest against my decision. And then the stewards could deal with it. In the WRC regulation, Article 39, there it's even stranger, more confusing, because there it says, the clerk of the course makes the decision after consulting the stewards. Now, this doesn't make sense. At least they can do it, but I would never put this in writing. Because in the moment the stewards are involved in this decision, they cannot deal with the protest anymore. And then the driver has only the right to appeal. So to have one more legal step, I really would ask you to do the decision. Clerk of the course does the decision. He has also the best information. He has all times. He knows how the driver were in the rally, so he should make the decision. And nowadays it's quite, I say, not very easy, but it's easier. Most of the rallies using the stages twice. And you have a big chance to look for the other passage of the stage and then coming up with the time. What I do is, when it's in the first stage, I make a decision, all get the same time, just that the time the result people can work on. If they don't have a time, they cannot proceed with their calculation. And I say, I make a temporary decision that everybody gets a certain time. And the final decision will be made after the second passage of the stage. Then I can see how every driver proceeds. And it says, and that's important because it says you have to give him a fair time. A fair time, everybody the same time is, in my opinion, not a fair time. You can see there that some drivers are getting faster and faster and faster, and suddenly you would cut this and you give him a bad time and he drops down. So you have to look at each and every car, each and every driver, and do him his time. And then you publish it, and then they have the right to protest and go to the stewards. Was this the answer you wanted to hear?
Thank you. And we have some questions coming from Turkish, and I will try to translate in English. Evet, sorularınızı bekliyorum. Türkçe sorabilirsiniz, ona bağlı olarak da cevapları alabiliriz. Evet, Ömer'den geliyor ilk soru.
Türkiye'de en çok yaşadığımız sorunlardan biri. Bir etabı, dün de konuşuldu bu konu. Bir etabı iptal etmeye tek yetkili direktör mü? Yani gözlemci ya da komiserler ben bu etabı iptal ettim diyebilir mi?
Bunu tekrar konuşacağız ama soruyorum aynen soruyu. The question is coming for the yesterday and today's presentation. Who is the only authority to cancel the stage, special stage? Because in Turkey we are sometimes stewards and observers influence the clerk of course.
Okay. in general, you are right that in general to cancel an event, it's the right only with the stewards. But there is physically sometimes no other chance. If you have a heavy accident, then you are a clerk of the course, you are running the event, and then you cancel it. That's it. That's not the stewards. If you cancel the event, it's the stewards. Like we had a heavy weather condition in Bulgaria, a lot of snow, and we had, in that case, we asked even the drivers, we asked the organizers, we asked the authorities, is it possible to clean all the road? And it was impossible. And that's why we decided as stewards, after hearing all parties, we canceled the event. Why? There's a big difference between canceling an event and canceling a stage. If you cancel the event, some of the drivers won't get points for the championship. So you influence with this decision the whole championship. Now, canceling a stage, it's not just done for fun. There is always a clear reason. The normal reason is there is an accident, you have the doctors out there. What kind of decision should the stewards do? You cannot go through it. That's why the clerk of the course is in race control, and he knows exactly what's going on, and he will do this decision. No steward will do a decision canceling a stage. There is no reason. Tell me a reason.
Yolun benim zaten sıkıntım şeylerde yaşanıyor işte. Yol çok çamurlu, işte yol çok kötü veya işte güvenliği bana göre yeterli, ona göre değil. Yani o göreceli bir şey oluyor.
We will ask two different way the question. One is because of the weather, heavy weather conditions. If the stage is not muddy because we are using too much gravel stages, then what will be the case? And the second one is the stewards heard about that the safety is not enough on the stage. So in that case, if the stewards came to the clerk of course and say that stage is not so safe.
Okay. It's difficult. First of all, you have to say, if there is a safety problem, a big safety problem, I think a legal term is an imminent danger, everybody has to react. So you cannot just see, if a kid is standing on the road and you say, well, that's not my kid, and the car is coming, everybody is forced to save this kid. Without any authorization, you have to. At least this is the normal legal laws. Now, go to the muddy version. How can you see as a steward that it's impossible to go through? How will you decide on that if you're sitting in the nice headquarters without rain, with the coffee, everything?
We have a problem about that. In Turkey, generally, from the old times, the stewards would like to go to the stages to see and to understand and to realize the situation. So only one sometimes is staying in the rally headquarters, the others are all on the stages.
Okay. The stewards are judges. The steward is not a referee. A big difference between, in football, he sees something and reacts. Stewards are judges, are sitting in the office, listening to all facts, and then making the decision. That's why, if a steward is outside, his private view, to check on the roads, to check on the safety, you have observers, you have safety delegates, so not the steward is not checking nothing. He's a judge. And normally, I think it's the same here in Turkey. If a judge knows the case already because of his own knowledge, then he's not supposed to be judge anymore, because he is a witness suddenly and not a judge anymore. So a witness will never be judged.
This is valid for off-road also, not only rally. We are talking about rally because it's a rally seminar, but it is valid for off-road also.
More.
And I think our observer will say something in that point.
Yes, I was thinking also that it could happen that if the stewards are not in the stewards room, they are in the itinerary, they can see some of the drivers doing something wrong. And if they cannot see, they cannot be a witness, and they have to decide something,
yeah.
They can take a decision about what they saw.
Yes, the way you do it is then you come back and tell your colleagues, and then you summon the driver, and then you, yeah. But you see, when we're talking about this muddy road, okay, I would never try to influence that. What I would do is I call the clerk of the course and say, listen, you have very, very bad conditions here. And if it's real unsafe, you cannot go there. You are not in charge of this rally. So all the insurance, everything is, the clerk of the course is in charge of it. So you call him and ask him to do so.
Evet, dinliyorum.
Ama şimdi orada benim etap görevlim o yolu geçmiş. O etap hazırlanırken orada birileri gitmiş gelmiş ama yarışılamaz.
Şimdi zaten cevap, can I say it in Turkish? Because I will put the same words in Turkish. Zaten cevap şu. Bizim yaptığımız yanlışlardan biri bu. Biraz sonra beraber çalışacağımız. Komiserlerin etabı gezmesi kendilerine ait bir karar. Normalde komiserlerin rally merkezinde oturuyor olması lazım. Dolayısıyla etabın kötü olması, etabın güvenliğiyle ilgili kararları vermiyor. Kararlara karışmıyor ama buradan da geldiği gibi gözlemciler de dahil olmak üzere eğer etabı gördüyse etaptaki çamur durumu, geçilememe durumu, yarışmacılardaki pozisyonu veya bir yarışmacının hatalı yasak servis aldığını bunu gördüyse geliyor, yarışma direktörüne söyleyebilir. Ama bu bir karar değil, bu bir görüşün bildirilmesi. Burada karar vermesi gereken kurban diye adlandırdığımız yarışma direktörü. Bunu öğleden sonra tekrar işleyeceğiz. Cevap bu ama.
I give you a good example, which is, this is more safety than muddy road. One who knows this rally, and she felt uneasy because in her position it was nothing to do. And I went through a rally before, and I saw it and I said, I won't go out of this of the headquarter in this rally anymore. We can call it, this is Rally Gran Canaria. There are thousands of people standing along the road, close to the road. If you see this, you say, you cancel the whole event. Now, if I see this, I feel very, very uneasy. That's why I don't go out and spectate rallies anymore. I think the last rally stage I see is only when my son is accompanying me and he forces me to go out. When I'm going to a rally, I'm in the headquarter and we're going to wait what happened. So please, stewards, and Banu, she was observing that. She just can write it down, but she cannot do anything. So I went to the clerk of the course in that case and said, have you ever been outside in this rally? He said, no. I said, that's good. That's why you stay inside. So as a steward, you should not go out and looking for work. There you have scrutineers which doing it technically wise. You have the organization of the rally who is in charge for safety for everything. So it's unnecessary that you check it again. You may go out and being spectator and standing in between the spectators, but that's my advice. And whenever it comes to safety, I think a reasonable clerk of the course will follow also your advice. But I know this behavior. I have some colleagues, luckily a lot of years ago, they were standing at the start of the stage and stopped everything. So I would have you can kill him because it's not his duty. And when it says here in the power of a steward, it says to cancel the event. That's the event, and we're not talking about stages. Let the clerk of the course work.
There is another question coming from here. It is the WRC. I know that your time is finished. This is the last one. In the WRC event in Turkey, he is our stage commander at that time. It was a very rainy night. All night it was rainy. And it's a muddy stage we will have. So unsleepy nights with the officials, everything, and they put everything in order. It's muddy, real muddy. It's heavy, but all the marshals, because we are distributing marshals in our case, they are all in the same places. Stage is safe, and then clerk, of course, is asking that safety cars, previous safety cars, can go through the stage. They said yes. And then the Jacek and Thomas was together with us. Jacek, I think with the helicopter, he didn't pass through the stage. Thomas go to the other stage, so there's no safety delegate on that stage. And the medical delegate with the medical doctor, you know the question, couldn't pass through the stage because of not a good tires on the 4x4. So they couldn't pass the stage, and they called to the Jacek, and Jacek advised clerk, of course, to say, cancel the stage, please. And it was the case that we respect him. So one question is coming from there about what is your idea for that?
No, but you said it correctly. Jacek advised the clerk of the course to cancel. So the decision was from the clerk of the course to cancel.
Yeah, we announced yesterday.
The safety delegate can delay a stage in the WRC by 30 minutes, and then he can give an advice to the clerk of the course. He cannot cancel. There is for sure a chance that the stewards could cancel it in that case, because for safety reasons, stewards may decide everything. But all the stewards together, not just one who is there on the spot and say, no, nobody's going. All three stewards decide together. Then, for safety reason, and if they find out that the clerk of the course is not willing to do anything for safety, then the stewards can do always anything. That's why the stewards can also decide to allow the cutting of tires for safety reason. For safety reason you can, but please only for safety reason, and not just because one driver calls, I have the wrong tires and it's not safe for me. That's not a safety reason. But in that case it was Jacek telling whether the reason was okay or not. But Jacek said, okay, I've heard it's not safe, or it's not, you cannot go through, and then asked the clerk of the course to cancel it. The way is proper. Whether the decision was proper, I don't know, but the way was correct. I still have 1 hour to go to the airport, or 2.
Another question is arrived from there, but it is a different situation. It is again WRC. On the stage, Daniel Sordo was stopped. Mechanical failure, and it was on the nearly band, right band or left band, and team starts to say that please cancel the stage because our car will be damaged, because it's again muddy, and our clerk of course didn't accept that one, and we still keep continuing. And then the report, I think you tried to mean, yeah, the observer report came as it's not a good decision. So they don't want to accept that also. So this is another question to you.
First of all, if the car is there, they have to secure the car themselves, because that's why they have the triangle, the reflecting triangle. That's why good. We heard it yesterday, that the scrutineers should really check that every car has this reflective triangle, because they have to take care of their cars themselves, number one. So in general, I would not stop a stage because of that. On the other hand, if this is an unsafe place, then it's really not a matter of not destroying this car, but it's a matter of safety to remove this car from there. I give you an example. You will find it in YouTube. In an Austrian rally, there was a hairpin left, downhill hairpin left, and exactly in this hairpin, a Mitsubishi left the road a little bit. He was maybe 2 meters off the road. But after this, it was a big, steep hill going down. And this Mitsubishi stopped there. Nothing happened. 5 cars later, another one came and hit this Mitsubishi. And this Mitsubishi was finally about, let's say, 300-400 meters down the hill on a road, and there are a lot of people down there. So now, this is now the other way. For the Mitsubishi, I would never have done this. But if I would be the staff commander, the stage commander, and knowing this situation, because the stage commander knows exactly where the stage is, what happens, and in that case, he should have removed this Mitsubishi, because exactly this happened, because that's normal. If a car has an accident, normal is that another car has the accident exactly at the same position. So there it would be wise to remove the car and then proceed. And that was a very tricky situation.
Yeah.
So there is not a, that's what I say, there is not a general solution. The solution is always depending on the situation, and the stage commander may be consulting with the clerk of the course in the headquarters. What are we going to do? Sometimes it's wise to stop for 10-15 minutes, remove the car, and then restart. Or if it's, now in that case was one of the front cars.
Yeah.
But it's even in the middle, you remove it and cancel the stage for the last. So, and then Article 39, and then you have a clear stage again.
In our case, it was done like for the WRC cars, stage continue. After starting with the national cars, in the I think 3 or 4 car is the lady driver, and she hit the car. And yes, Burcu, and then the car is a little bit move and try to make a more close the road, and after that it was for the others the stage was cancelled. So this was the case. But you know, sometimes you will take the manufacturers or teams press on the clerk, of course.
Yeah. No, there you have to make your mind up, and you have to think on the best solution. Any more? Do you have problems with spectators here?
Sorry?
Do you have problems with spectators in Turkey?
Evet, bu sefer soru bu taraftan geliyor. Seyirci sorunumuzu ne yaptık? Arttırıyor muyuz? Cevap?
Have you ever stopped the stage because of spectators?
In WRC.
No, in WRC.
That event, yeah. Some drunk Bulgarian and some, yeah. I think from Romania, this part of the region, there are camping, spectators with camping was on the stage, and Jacek will not be happy so much.
I show you a picture just to show you a good, very good spectator.
But please, not from Canarian Island.
Huh? Not from?
Not Canarian, please.
I just have to look where it is. I've got it yesterday, and
Soru mu var? Evet. Okay, another, yeah, this is also true. In the first WRC, we were so exciting and so stressful. With the same times with the Germany rally, you know. For the spectator point of view, we assumed that we will be thousands and thousands of spectators, and we try to protect the stages too much.
this is not a fake, huh? Everybody says this is Rally Acropolis. Yeah, because it's nice to have, you make your own picture. So how can this happen? Where is the marshals? Acropolis. Most probably, we are not absolutely sure. So if Anita is here, no, Anita was here yesterday, but nobody's stopping them. So, huh?
I think we have one in Kemer, in WRC, with the fourth spectator area. I remember from the Marshals training seminar, one picture. They will try to make a photo in the hairpin. Do you remember that picture? Yeah. We have one like that.
So, well, you're close to Greece, so it's maybe it's the same.
Same culture.
No, what I say is you should have the guts to stop a stage. If the spectators don't behave properly, stop the stage. And tell as long as you behave like this, you won't see rally car. So this is the only way you can manage spectators.
We have not that amount of spectator because we are putting too much rules. One friend from the backside told me that we have too much restrictions, too much rules, and we are losing spectators because of this.
Would you like to have more spectators like this? If something happens here, you go to jail, huh? Because nobody can, no court will accept something like this, and you continue rallying. Nobody. I have a small rally in Germany, and there was also some spectators, and the marshals asked them to go away. So they went off, let's say, 10 meters, and after 10 minutes they were back again. They asked him again, go away, and they did it 3 times. And after the 3rd time, they said, we don't care. And 5 minutes later, Mitsubishi was right in the middle of these people. And the marshals were asked to come to the court, and the court, they had to pay a lot of fines. The marshals, not the clerk of the course, because the marshals did not do their work properly. But we want to have marshals because we have a shortage on marshals. So that's why we have to educate them and say, in case you have a problem with spectators, you going straight to inform the stage commander, and the stage commander should make the decision to stop the stage or not. But if the marshal does not inform anybody about his problems, then suddenly he is responsible himself.
There is one question from here. Yeah.
Coming to watch VRC in Turkey.
In Turkey?
Yeah.
The first year. The first year.
First year, last year.
2010, we have, I couldn't say exactly the figure, but you know, half of the stage is free of charge, the other half with payment, and the payment is 10 euro. So you can think about all the rally, we have a 180 1,000 Turkish lira. It means we have good spectators because there are the other half is free of charge. 70,000 total for 4 days. But the first one.
Just for 1 year or just for one stage?
No, in 4 days in WRC. Overall. In the first year, I think it was more.
Oh, so we are lucky because we organize off-road racing, but maybe this year we organize it with this federation. But last year we have just 4,000 people in just one stage.
Yeah, so for this reason, it is very important why all off-road people is here, just for this reason. Because rallies and off-road, we are talking about the same kind of discipline. It's not a circuit race.
We will learn it.
Yeah, so we will try to make that all the spectators will come again, will follow the races, but in the safe places, in the correct places. This is the problem which we saw in off-road. So we will discuss this afternoon also.
Thank you.
Some more interesting. It's very interesting. I like these discussions.
I know that.
So, which problems do you have between the clerk of the course and the stewards? Yeah, no, general, maybe here in Turkey.
I can.
Every time also we explain them the rules normally, but some officials like stewards, they forget their duty for the season. The man normally the human problem.
Zafer, any question? Olarak çok memnunsun, hiçbir şey sormak istemiyorsun. Komiserlerden en çok rallide komiserlik yapan arkadaşlardan Öcal. Aramızda bir de Öcal vardı. Öcal'ı unuttuk. So Öcal is our starting from our volunteers, coming to the university group chief, and then marshal, and then starting to be a steward and clerk of course, and he was the clerk of course of one rally of the national championship. So he has to explain some feelings, but he did one race with some very heavy conditions, with the weather condition and too much difficulties in the first race. So we are all laughing to him for this reason. I think he will say something and ask something to you.
Hi everyone. I was the clerk of the course of the last race of the season, and we have many and my first clerk of the course experience. First of all, we have to cancel before of the rally one of the special stage because of the mud. 23rd competitors broke down in the stage because of the mud. We tried to tow up them out of the stage, and it takes 3 and nearly 4 hours, and we have to extend the antrenman. Evet. Reconnaissance.
See.
And the other side, we have to change the rally itinerary, and the shame of the tables and the stage listing. We made a new rally at the night. We have to publish a new road book, new alternative road books, and new itinerary, and we have to consult to the competitors. It's very hard for me, but I have a very best team with young and the best of marshals. and we do it, but we have not enough because we have to cancel another special stage, last special stage, spectator special stage, because of the traffic. And I decide to cancel by me. I am a clerk, of course. I didn't ask the stewards. I decided to cancel it, and after cancel 5 seconds, I called the stewards. I cancel it. You will hear. And they came back to the headquarters, and they were nervous. But we solved the problem. They arranged the new times to the other competitors because 2 of the competitors have completed the stage. I was late to decide the cancellation, but they solved the problem. I was very relaxed after the night. It's completely done.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Now, first of all, I would like to congratulate him for these decisions. Then he is a perfect clerk of the course. It's perfect. Because I just tell you the story. First of all, a little bit criticism. If you select special stages, you should consider all weather conditions. So if it's getting so muddy, it must be muddy before.
It was a surprise for us. We didn't expect that.
Okay. We have some similar situations in Poland sometimes. The ground is very sandy. And the two-wheel cars, you know, you get some ruts, and then suddenly they go on their sump cart, and then there is the wheels are free. Huh?
It was the same like that, and hill climbing, not.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, this was a very good decision, but it has been done in other events already. For instance, there was, I think, an event in Argentina, even a WRC event, because they had to stop for a long time, and then suddenly the cars did not have their lights. And then there was, I think, a 40-kilometer stage in that case, and this is absolutely unsafe because they have only the normal street lights, and you cannot go in Argentina in these roads. I don't know your roads, but it is impossible. So they stopped and say we continue the event on the next day. So they moved all the event.
Don't try this in Turkey, please. Don't try.
This was a decision. But this decision, this movement, this was together with the stewards. So these are situations where you sit together with the stewards and consult them what is the best way to do. But in general, you are in charge for it, and you must do it. So this was okay. Now, what the question?
Yes.
My question is for you. After the event, what you learned? Tell me exactly and honestly.
It's very hard to me. It takes 2 or 3 hours to present in here. I learned to do it with experienced persons like our stewards. Before the rally, I have to ask many things. How can I do? How could you do? However you do? But I didn't, because I am very selfish. I accept this. But I tried to solve the problems by myself and their opinion. I listen their opinion every time. But many times we can cannot talk in the race time. Yes.
It should not happen. You should be always in close connection with the stewards. That's why at least one of them should not be outside and looking muddy roads. It should be in the headquarters, close to the clerk of the course. And that's also the reason that the clerk of the course should be in the headquarters always. There are some clerk of the courses that are traveling around.
Like Simo.
So that's why you should be actually closer together then.
Yes. Any other things? We have planned our budget before the rally, and the expenses must be concerned. is another problem in our every clubs and organizers. I will try my best another time.
So you learn many things in this rally, more than all the training seminars, I think, and you are a good example for 5 years.
Yes.
We can do these.
It will be a lesson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Hocam.
Maybe one thing together. It should not be the way that the stewards and the clerk of the course are like this. Huh? They should work like this. Because at the beginning of the event, even before the event, they should have contact. They should communicate. And they should say what's going to happen. If this and this happens, what are we going to do? So that everybody is prepared. And not a selfish clerk of the course saying, I tell the stewards what to do, and the stewards tell the selfish clerk of the course, we have more power than you, and you do what we want. No, it should be a team. They should work together. This is the best way to do it.
Başka soru? Nevzat? Soru?
Valla demin vardı aslında sorularım ama ardı ardına cevaplarını verdi.
Ha, peki. He has some questions, but we get the answers.
Aynı konuda değil. Bazı atanan konser arkadaşların biri farklı görüşte oluyor. Ondan sonra diğeri sporcunun yanında oluyor.
Okay.
Bir tanesi kuralın yanında oluyor. Burada çok sıkıntılar yaşıyoruz.
This is another good question. We have 3 stewards. And sometimes the stewards is different ideas. In that case, who will govern the stewards' decisions?
No, it's 3 stewards. There must be a decision because 2 have the majority. So actually, the meeting, the chairman of the stewards, the president of the stewards, he will handle the cases in the formalities. But the decision are 3 people, and if you have 3 people, you'll never have a equal vote. So should not be the problem. In case you have 4 stewards, then the president is the one or the chairman of the stewards make the final decision. But what happens if you are supposed to have 3 stewards, and at the beginning of the event there are only 2 present? What is happening then?
2 tane komiser var, 3. yok. Ne yapıyoruz? One answer is if there is a chairman of steward, he will assign another experienced people as a 3rd steward. One answer is like that. The other one is with these 2 stewards, they can take a decision.
Chief Marshal can be referred.
Oh, who is the chief marshal? No. First of all, in a competition, you can have only one function. You cannot be chief marshal and you being steward. This is impossible. So it's only in every event, only one function. This is a general rule. Second, if you have to have 3 stewards, then the first answer was correct. The 2 stewards looking for the 3rd person, which should be an experienced, which must not be a licensed steward, but should be an experienced person in motorsports.
In Turkey, it must be licensed.
But if you don't have any?
Okay, we will see this situation also.
Okay, well, this is at least what the sporting code says. Then you can get a 3rd person to have to assign him as a third steward. If you have a licensed steward, logic is this normal procedure, but it must not be that way, because in some countries the stewards are not licensed.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But this would be the correct. I would not do it with 2 stewards. Just get an additional one. And totally wrong would be that the other 2 stewards say, okay, then we go home also. Good.
The questions are finished.
Okay.
If you have no...
Next year I come back and then we have new questions.
Yes, I think so. It is very useful, and thank you so much. We are very, very happy to listen and your presentation.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Good explanation, all the rules, and thank you again to stay today and continue.
With my wife, and I like it that it was the first time being here in the official function, whatever it is.
I think it will be regular.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
Evet, 15 dakikalık ara verebiliriz.